here we have the AMXQ technique. Jack shaft comes in 3 pieces. The centre with the larger open bearings, grease nipple so the grease can travel through and out into the bearings via the sleeve inside that will force it out. Now this to me was a really good idea, as well bearings are a major problem, especially when you're running high power. So yeah, that's how it is assembled. Slots in, slots in, slots in. It is held together with little grommet screws there, Allen head ones. Now, a couple of guys have run these high power and the aluminium is not up to the grade it should be. So the tolerances are pretty tight, but it's not a press fit. So it would definitely need to be a higher grade aluminium. Now, he was nice enough to let me know that someone had run into issues running a higher power, and he said he will send me a new one if I run into the same issues. But I do not want to fit it on my bike, run into the issues and have to take it off again. So my solution is, I've punched marks in all the way around. I'm going to drill that out. I'm going to have to somehow get them new bearings out. I mean, it's a pain in the arse, I didn't want to do it. But I'll get them new bearings out and I will fit everything back together, and I will drill and tap all the way through this. So when you're actually fitting the bolts in, it screws through the top, screws through the bottom. That all the way around should give it enough rigidity not to round out. A pain in the arse, but if you bought one of these and you don't want to wait for it to flog out, or you don't want to wait for a return item, this is probably the best solution to tighten it all up and give it that best overall solid rigidity. Yeah, so we'll see how I go getting these bearings out without trying to ruin them, but probably going to have to replace them, to be fair, because yeah, there's not much tolerance in there to knock them out, just that tiny little lip. But guess I'll suss it out. So here's what I do to get the bearings out. Just weld the bolt into the end of the bearing, because otherwise you just end up messing around with it, and you're there messing around for absolutely ages, and then you tip it upside down, plop it in your vise or a jig where you're obviously going to give clearance for the bearing itself, and tap it out. So that's the easiest way to get bearings out. And there you have it. The bearing came out really easily there. No, just knock that one out, put it all back together and drill and tap all of the holes. There it is then. It's all drilled and tapped out all the way through. Getting rid of the little tiny threads, because I don't like small threads in aluminium. It tends to strip them real easy. Prefer a coarser thread for sure. I will be going to the bolt shop tomorrow, because the ones I have are a little bit too long, so I'll be getting some specialist little screws to pop in there that are just the depth of the thread. If not, I'll just cut them down and make them my own. But yeah, I will be Loctiting them in, all of them, once I've reassembled it with new bearings, and that should not then move at all with all that. Now to me this is overkill, but as I say, on everything you're better to overkill it than underkill it, because then you're just redoing it, or you're actually risking injury to yourself or somebody else. So always over engineer, do not under engineer items. Yeah, that's it then. I'll get the bolts tomorrow, separate it and do a final assembly of that part. Not in a rush, because I'm taking my time with my bike. Been doing it over 3 years now, so there's no point in rushing this final little bit. Get some new bearings tomorrow.